One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. So let me be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report he paves his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Well, what do we have here? It is a thirsty Thursday. Let's go. Thirsty Thursday. I said it. Fuck it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got a wild news cycle. As always, it seems like it's just getting crazier and crazier every single day, it seems like. We've actually got 13 stories lined up for you guys this morning, and so we're going to breeze through a lot of these because we have so much going on within the last 24 hours. It's kind of unreal. So the way that I labeled this, just so everybody knows, is Minneapolis ICE shooting as well as Iran halts executions. Trump meets with Venezuela's Machado. I don't know how you say that word, so you guys are going to have to excuse me. So anyways, that is what the title is, but that doesn't consolidate everything. So I'm going to tell you guys what we're going to be discussing right now. So two Gainesville officers shot an ambush-style attack. Now, I believe this is in Florida, Gainesville. It says two Gainesville police officers were hurt in an officer-involved shooting after responding to another reported shooting Wednesday morning. So that is in Florida. And then we have Iran warns of retaliation as U.S. withdraws troops in the Middle East. And yes, we discussed the withdrawal of those troops yesterday. As well as U.S. announces launch of Phase 2 of Gaza peace plan. And I'm not really sure what that all involves. So we're going to figure that out together, obviously. Trump on Iran, no plans for executions. That's the quote anyways. Trump signs bill allowing schools to serve milk. I'm not really sure why that's a huge headline, but it is. For some reason, it's a big headline, so we're going to talk about it. I'm not really sure why I didn't know schools were not allowed to serve milk. I remember getting milk as a child in school, but I don't know, man. And then we have analysis. Killing of Iran protesters, quote, has stopped, Trump says. I hope that is the truth. We got Walz, that is going to be Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, whatever you want to call him. Walz addresses Minnesota amid ICE crackdown, and that is his latest one from 13 hours ago. And then we have Iranian protests. Trump administration considers military intervention, as well as we have another breaking, on the story of another ICE-involved shooting in Minneapolis happened yesterday, 13 hours ago. So this was a breaking story up there in Minneapolis yesterday. Then we have videos of, actual video, dramatic videos of ICE operations in Minnesota. We actually have that, as well as Trump-Iran executions halted after warnings. And then something very, very interesting. Right before we hit go live, we had an update. U.S. seizes new oil tanker in Caribbean. Oh, shit. We got another fucking tanker, dude. And it's coming out from U.S. Southern Command. So, and then we have our last story, which would be European troops arrive in Greenland amid U.S. talks. So we have a lot to discuss this morning, obviously, as you guys can see. Quickly, we're just going to get into the calls to actions, and then we've got to get right into this shit. Like I said, we got like 13 stories we're doing this morning. So make sure you guys come in and hit that like button. It helps out the show immensely. If you're on the vertical side, make sure you guys double tap the screen because it's free. And you know what else is free? Is hitting that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday, man. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. But let's get the money part over. Please consider becoming a member starting only at $3.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody. But check it out. This is what allows us to keep these lights on as well as be on these airwaves. So thank you, members, for becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BaldValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, the campaign trail, all of the above, man. Make sure you guys direct message me over there. We also have a Discord server for all of you legends. Make sure that you guys go into the video description down below of any live video that we're doing, and it'll have the invite link for the server and all that stuff. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, well, then we have these platforms right here that you guys can donate to. And, of course, I'll read out anything that comes my way because that's a great way to allow me to have 100% of the proceeds. So I'll read it out loud as they come in. So I've got my email up, and I'll be scanning just in case. All right, there we go. We're ready to rock and roll. Great to see everyone in the chat, man. Real quick, I'm going to say hi, and then we got to get right into this. We got Steve Easy in the building as well as Naomi. Good morning to you guys. We got Roger as well. Good morning, good morning. We got Easy Frank in the building as well as Mountain Woman. Good morning. We got Scramble North in the building as well. Thank you very much for hanging out with us this morning on this thirsty Thursday morning. We got Rabbit of Chaos. Good morning to you. We got Brendan Smith as well. Jimmy Mack, good morning. We got Trouble in the building. Yes, sir, my man. Great to see you in the chat, bro. We got Big Dan as well. And I think I might be wrong, but let me go ahead and see if I can even see on my side. It's not showing yet, but I'm sure it already did happen. But Motobomb, I was on his show this morning, and can't thank him enough for having me on as when I'm able to appear. And thank you for also rating us this morning. So I very much appreciate that. We got Prez as well. Good morning to you, kind sir. Great to see you. We got, let's see. Yes, hit that like button by hitting that double taps on the screen, bro. Absolutely. We got Dylan Patterson as well as Steve Posey. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this morning. We got Virginia Chaos. Great to see you back in the chat. Charles Darwin from Down Under, by the way, in Australia, saying, looking for Lucy. I heard that. She's hanging around. She's a little crazy this morning. We got Joseph up there in Canada, our favorite snow Mexican, saying, stop the cap, sir.
Stop the cap.
Great to see you in the chat, bro. Milk is a headline. Yes, I swear to God. Whole milk. Oh, whole milk. Gotcha. We got KP in the building saying real milk. Heard that. Get that oil, Jimmy Mack says. So, guys, we're gonna have to get right into this. We got so much shit to go into. 13 stories, and we're gonna be skipping through a lot of the quote-unquote BS. Anything that is not gonna be factual to us. Of course, we're just gonna move on from it. So.
We are following breaking news out of Gainesville, Florida, after a suspect was shot and killed. 2 officers were injured during an incident. Let's listen in to the very latest.
What's up, AU? Shadow, good morning.
It was a chaotic scene.
Dylan?
In the middle of morning rush hour traffic, which brings into to light
Orland.
some great concerns that we had upon arriving here, because we had our motoring public, our businesses that are trying to make a living, all having to deal with this as it's unfolding, again, in a very violent manner. Immediately thereafter, once we were able to secure our 2 police officers that were wounded in the exchange and get them treated and taken to the hospital, we, of course, began a search of the area. Information that we had received took us to a nearby business, a lumber yard, where the initial suspect was seen entering. We sadly discovered a subject inside of the business that was also deceased.
What's up, Jason Ghost? Good morning.
Suffered a
Carrie,
wound,
good morning.
as well. So we now believe confidently that it is the same suspect that entered the business after having parked not far from here at 1300 East University Avenue behind the KFC, walked over to the lumberyard, engaged the victim therein, walked back to his car, and as he attempted to flee, was met by our officers, and the rest, as I told you. So, any questions on
Chief,
that?
I have a question right now, and what can you tell us about the recovery?
Well, I will tell you.
What's up with the cameraman?
That anytime that our staff, our police officers are injured, is always.
What's up, Jason?
But in this case, the officers, when I arrived on scene, very shortly thereafter, I could see that they were both wounded. One in the lower extremity, one in the upper extremity. Both were ambulatory, transported to Shands Hospital, where they are receiving treatment, and they are expected to recover fully. I've since met with them and their family.
Wow. So the suspect is killed, 2 officers were shot, and both officers are looking like they're going to survive, which is great. We got Black Legionnaire, by the way. Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat. We got Tiffany Lance as well. Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat as well. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on this thirsty Thursday morning.
To express my gratitude.
Shit, that would be a crazy Joseph.
And their actions today, which resulted not only in essence, neutralizing somebody who's out to commit murder, but also ensuring that the rest of our public was safe. And I do want to thank our public. I understand this was very, very chaotic, and
what's up, brother Lee Lance, my man? Good morning.
Going to school and work, and we've interrupted all of it. So I apologize for that, but I'm also grateful that people have showed the patience as we deal with this extremely large and complex scene. There are many people that have come to our aid
today. I agree, Andrew.
I certainly want to thank the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. This is now a dual investigation. We have a homicide scene that will be run by the Gainesville Police Department, and we have an officer-involved shooting that will be managed by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Our local partners at the Alachua County Sheriff's Office were also immediately on scene, rendering whatever help they can do for us. They've been extremely...
Well, make sure you drive safe there, Papa Penguin. We always appreciate you.
Extremely helpful in handling other calls for service because our community keeps on going. We have our federal partners. I've spoken to the FBI. ATF is on scene. So many that have come to our aid because they realize that in this community, as we continue to battle all that is gun-related violence, when it happens so boldly and it involves our people, it's a different level, right? And so I'm just so proud of our officers today, of our employees. There are so many behind the scenes that are supporting what...
Okay, so now he's just not going to be saying much more from that. So we're going to move on. We understand that 2 officers got shot. The suspect did get shot from the police officers and died. And the 2 officers are planned to recover. All right, so we're moving on. Iran warns of retaliation as U.S. withdraws troops in the Middle East. Now, we talked about the withdrawal of these troops yesterday from the Middle East. We reported on that briefly. And here we go. Let's see what we can get from this.
Though we've been really keeping our eyes on this story. We know that the U.S. troops are withdrawing some troops from the Middle East bases. And this was first brought to us by Reuters this morning as the United States began withdrawing some of those personnel from key bases in the region as a precaution given to heighten regional tensions. That's according to a U.S. official who spoke with Reuters under the condition of anonymity. But this disclosure follows remarks by a senior Iranian official who told Reuters earlier on Wednesday that Tehran had warned neighbors hosting U.S. troops that it would hit American bases if Washington decided to strike. I'm going to put this up on your screen as well. And this is the site that we've seen. Some U.S. military personnel were told to leave those Middle Eastern bases, according to Fox News. And as the story is continuing to develop, we've also seen this put out there by the New
What's up, Miss Lotus? Great to see you in the chat. Good morning to you.
New York Post. Iran has since issued an assassination threat against President Trump, saying this time it will not miss the target. And so as we're discussing all of this as it's heating up there in that region, I want to now bring into the conversation with the Council on Foreign Relations, Maria Ventapi. Maria, thanks so much for being with us here on Live Now from Fox.
Thank you for having me, Christine.
So much to discuss here as the situation is still developing. But let's focus on the very basics. There may be folks who are not so familiar with the United States and their relations with Iran. Right now, what is happening that's causing this more recent sense of tension that we've seen there in the region between the 2 countries?
Well, there is a long history, obviously, of of problems between the United States and Iran, but I want to bring everyone actually to the last stretch of it, which is basically the last 6 months. We have had already 6 months ago a U.S. military attack on Iranian nuclear site, followed by the failure actually of concluding a negotiation on a nuclear agreement. The Iranian government, the Iranian regime afterwards, after the 12 days war, actually failed in some way to bring back a good proposal for negotiation that was at least...
What's up, old Mac? Great to see you in the chat, my man. Good morning to you. Great to see you.
A proposal that could be acceptable to the United States.
What's up, Lily?
This led also to a situation of stalemate. Everyone after that attack, that U.S. military attack and the Israel attack on Iran actually felt that war is going to come back precisely because diplomacy was not anymore an option. That being said, now we are at the point where the country, in Iran, there are like the most important maybe mobilization protest against the Iranian regime which we have ever seen, and a strong contestation against the Islamic Republic. So this is a time where potentially the United States is considering actually to undertake a kinetic military action to remove the Islamic Republic regime from Iran. Obviously, this comes and is connected with the news that you have given, which is the fact that the U.S. have announced that it will withdraw some of its troops from the military bases that are actually neighboring Iran. And
correct, which did happen, by the way.
These bases are actually in Gulf states, Arab Gulf states. And so this is a very worrying sign because we knew also from past history, from the history of last year, that when the U.S. give this warning to its personnel to withdraw from this military bases, it's maybe the sign of a potential imminent kinetic action happening on the Islamic Republic.
And there's so much to unfold. As again, you just mentioned, this is the newest piece there that the U.S. is withdrawing some of that personnel. And so, Maria, I have to ask you, we did get this report just a little while ago, about 20 or so minutes ago from the Associated Press, saying that the U.S. envoy, Steve Witkoff, did meet with the exiled former Crown Prince of Iran. The White House official...
By the way, we've got over 500 people in here. We've got 516 people. Make sure you guys hit that like button as well as double tap the screen if you're on the vertical side. You guys don't have to like the craziness that's happening around the world or here in the nation, whatever. But listen, you guys can like it for me and what we do here. So thank you guys.
Officials did confirm that today, speaking under the condition of anonymity about that private meeting. But that official didn't provide any additional details. I have to ask you, when it comes to some of those conversations that are happening behind the scenes with the exiled former Crown Prince and U.S. officials, what sort of agreement are they trying to get, an understanding are they trying to work through at this time?
Sure. Well, the problem is that if...
And this is the last question that I'm going to take from this chick right here, and then we got to move on.
There is really a seriousness from the United States to actually undertake a regime removal. There might be also a potential discussion on what comes next. And to a certain extent, the former crown, to a certain extent, there has been several opposition figures which have shown to be potentially proposing themselves as replacement. But here comes...
What's up, sick bastard? We just reported on the Gainesville. That was the very first story, was the Gainesville police officer shooting that happened.
The point that actually what the U.S. might want in Iran is not actually long-term engagement, not engage at least into a reshaping of a new political scene. It might just want to have just another counterpart to actually have a good deal with whom a person, a counterpart or an entity with whom it will negotiate actually the end of Iranian enrichment and the end of the actually Iran being a threat or a perceived threat for Israel. So to this extent, these negotiations or these talks between Steve Witkoff and opposition figures can be understood in this framework.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and leave it from there, and we're going to move on. We got way too much shit to get through. U.S. announces launch of Phase 2 of Gaza peace plan. Let's go ahead and bring this up and discuss it. And quickly, before we get into it, we definitely need to get the money part over, so let's just go ahead and get the money part over. You know,
all right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
That's ideal.
Denied.
Here we go.
We do have some breaking news out of Gaza, and I did want to share this live look of the Israel-Gaza border as
What's up,
the United
TVT?
States
Good morning.
has announced that it is moving forward to the next phase of the Gaza ceasefire plan. That involves disarming Hamas, rebuilding, and daily governance. Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, taking to social media to say that the ceasefire deal was entering a phase focused on demilitarizing Gaza, establishing a technocratic government, and reconstruction. In that post, which we're going to read in just a moment, Witkoff did not offer any details about the new transitional Palestinian administration that would govern Gaza. The White House also not immediately offering any details, although Witkoff said that the U.S. expects Hamas to immediately return the final deceased hostage.
What's up, Doomerang? And yes, there is this one last hostage that truly I believe that they just lost him. That's what I believe.
As part of its obligations under the deal. And I did want to share that social media post that U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff just shared to social media saying, quote, "Today, on behalf of President Trump, we are announcing the launch of Phase 2 of the president's 20-point plan to end the Gaza conflict."
Hold on, before they go into this big read real quick, I got Alfred Patterson coming in for the $2 on the Cash App saying, for left-handed tobacco. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you for making it rain in the Cash App, my man. I've got my left-handed tobacco right here. Go ahead and pop that bad boy open. You know what I mean? And also, we got Glare 1%er in the building for the $4.99. Send for the wig payments. Yes, sir. Feels good to be a G. All right, let's get back into this.
Moving from ceasefire to demilitarization, technocratic governance, and reconstruction.
Thank you for that,
Phase 2
Claire.
establishes a transitional technocratic Palestinian administration in Gaza, the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, and begins the full demilitarization and reconstruction of Gaza, primarily the disarmament of all unauthorized personnel. The U.S. expects...
What's up, Bob, up there in Canada? My man, good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat. Your thirsty Thursday morning. Hopefully it's going well.
Hamas to comply fully with its obligations, including the immediate return of the final deceased hostage. Failure to do so will bring serious consequences. Importantly, Phase 1 delivered historic humanitarian aid, maintained the ceasefire, returned all living hostages, and the remains of 27 of the 28 deceased hostages.
Damn. And we got Brother Lee coming in with the $2 on the Cash App as well, saying, yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you for that.
We are deeply grateful to Egypt, Turkey, and Qatar for their indispensable mediation efforts that made all progress to date possible. We are continuing to gather reaction, and we will share more reaction as it comes in right here on Live Now from Fox.
Of course. Now, we're going to move on because that was a quick update, which is perfect. Trump on Iran, no plans for executions, it says. So let's go ahead and bring it up, and we'll discuss it. Bam.
We have...
Okay, we're also going to get into this here in a second, too, regards to Trump to sign a bill allowing schools to offer whole milk and 2% milk. We're going to see that in the very next clip here. This is only a minute.
Notified and pretty strongly, but we'll find out what that all means. But we've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping, and it's stopped, and it's stopping. And there's no plan for executions or executions. So I've been told that on good authority. We'll find out about it. I'm sure if it happens...
What's up, Stacks, my man? Hopefully you're enjoying the morning so far.
We'll be very upset, including you will be very upset, but that's just gotten to me, some information that the killing has stopped, that the executions have stopped. They're not going to have an execution, which a lot of people were talking about for the last couple of days. Today was going to be the day of execution. And another piece of information that I think is very important is the leaker has been found and is in jail right now.
Yeah, right now we've got 815 people in here. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap the screen, man. I very much appreciate your laborious work. Thank you.
And that's the leaker on Venezuela. We had a very bad leaker. So there could be some others, and we'll let you know about that. We're out on that trail. But the leaker has been found, and the leaker's in jail. And will probably be in jail for a long time. Let's see what happens.
All right, so now we're going to get into the whole milk thing, right? So let me go ahead and bring this up, and then we'll quickly discuss it, and then we're getting right into the next.
Let's listen in.
We're not going to be listening to this whole 44-minute speech. We ain't doing that.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much. You see that beautiful milk? That's what we're here for. We're going to be discussing milk and whole milk and how good it is, and how nourishing. And these people all come from beautiful farms. They have a wonderful life, and they're happier today than they would have been if we didn't sign this. So we'll be talking about that in a second. Will, could you read the first two items, and we're going to get going after that? And we'll be talking about a couple of things. We have some news on Iran, which we're going to talk about.
So shortly before you all came in, the president signed 2 executive actions. The first is the result of a Section 232 trade investigation into critical minerals supplies. What it does is it sets up a mechanism.
Which critical mineral supplies?
A process by which the United States will seek to secure its international supply chain of critical minerals and critical mineral-derived products. The second is actually the result of another Section 232 trade investigation, this one into semiconductors. It sets up a 2-phase process. Under the first phase, semiconductors that are imported into the United States of America that are not then used domestically to build out RAI or computing architecture here will be subject to a 25% tariff. So, for example, semiconductors that were transshipped through the United States to other foreign countries would be subject to that 25% tariff. But those are 2 executive actions that the president reviewed shortly before you all came in.
So they're going to sell.
We've got 1,185 people in here. Make sure you guys double tap the screen and hit the like button. I very much appreciate that. And send money. Absolutely.
Chips, basically, and it's a chip. It's not the highest level, but it's a very good level. And China wants them, and other people want them. And we're going to be making 25% on the sale of those chips, basically. So we're allowing them to do it, but the United States is getting 25% of the chips in terms of the dollar value, and I think it's a very good deal, great deal. They're taking billions of dollars, and they've done a fantastic job. But it's not the Blackwell or the Rubin; those are the 2 top. But it's a very good chip, and people want it, and we think it's in our best interest to do. And we have some other little things to talk about. Maybe we'll start that first. Should I start that first? I think they're going to want me to. I have a feeling they're going to want me to. We have been notified, and pretty strongly, but we'll find out what that all means. But we've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping, and it's stopped, and it's stopping. And there's no plan for executions or executions. So I've been told that on good authority. We'll find out about it. I'm sure if it happens, we'll all be very upset, including you will be very upset, but that's just gotten to me, some information that the killing has stopped, that the executions have stopped. They're not going to have an execution, which a lot of people were talking about for the last couple of days. Today was going to be the day of execution. And
yeah, I read them out loud already, Tiffany.
Another piece of information that I think is very important is the leaker has been found and is in jail right now. And that's the leaker on Venezuela. And a very bad leaker. So there could be some others, and we'll let you know about that. We're hot on their trail, but the leaker has been found.
Yeah, I think, silver just got added, or gold was already added, but now it's silver that just got added, where you see the big, it's the United States admitting we cannot have daily life without silver.
And the leaker's in jail. And we'll probably be in jail for a long time. We'll see what happens. So we'll let you know. We'll keep you apprised as to what's going to happen with that. And I want to thank all of the incredible people behind me, political people, both Republicans and Democrats, because they like whole milk, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. Whole milk is, right? That's a great thing. The senator was in the office many years ago. It feels like many years ago, but quite a while ago, right at the beginning of my first term.
Yeah, Elijah Cummings.
Right, with Elijah, a very good person. You and I had a good relationship with him. At that time, I think you were a congressman, and you've made a lot of progress. You've done very well.
Some would disagree.
No, I don't disagree. I think you've done a great job. But it's great to have you here again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So today, I'm delighted to sign the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act into law, which is a very important thing for our farmers, and I think maybe more important for our people, the people that drink milk. Mm-hmm. This is the first.
What's up, Tony? Good morning.
Bill signing of the new year, and it will ensure that millions of school-age children have access to high-quality milk as we make America healthy again. I want to thank Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins, who's behind me, Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Senators John Bozeman and Mike Crapo, Roger Marshall, Peter Welch, as well as Representative G.T. Thompson.
Oh, I'm way ahead of you on that, Frank. Absolutely. I got in considering early. Absolutely.
Thompson and Tim Wahlberg, all great people. Also with us today is USDA National Nutrition Advisor, Dr. Ben Carson, my friend for a long time. We went head to head, and it was not easy going head to head with Ben. What is Ben? He's a great guy. He still looks good. That's because he drinks a lot of milk. And some of our nation's wonderful dairy farmers and their children. They're going to be farmers for a long time, we hope. As it currently stands, schools participating in the National School Lunch Program are only able to offer students low or non-fat milk options. That was changed during the Obama administration, and a lot of people disagreed with it at the time. With this legislation, schools will finally be able to expand their offerings to include nutritious whole milk. It's actually a legal definition, whole milk. And it's whole with a W for those of you that have a problem. Most of the media will get that. This is the perfect follow-up to the new real food pyramid, and Secretary Kennedy and
Trust me, Steve, there's been a lot of things in my life that I'm like, ooh, I could sell that and then invest all of that into silver right now. You know what I mean? Like, that's definitely my mindset for sure.
Secretary Rollins announced that last week. You probably heard. This legislation also allows parents to directly request a substitute for milk for children with dairy intolerance. Previously, parents were required to submit a written statement from a doctor, but we're eliminating that rather ridiculous policy, allowing parents to choose what is best for their child, which is a big move. Hard to believe that that would be a big thing, but it is. And of course, these changes will be major victories for the American dairy farmers, who we love and who voted for me in great numbers, I will say. I think I got every one of them. In December, I also signed the Secure Rural Schools Reauthorization Act, and I'm proud to say that these two pieces of legislation will give school-age children across the country the resources and support that they need, not just to succeed, but really to thrive in life and later on in life. So I want to ask Secretary Rollins to say a few things, and then
no, we don't need to do that. Now we've got enough of the information. We're going to move on, though. All right, so let's go ahead and get into. There's an analysis: killing of Iran protesters, quote, has stopped, Trump says. Let's go ahead and bring this up. We'll quickly discuss it. But quickly, we need you guys to obey. You know, that's the first thing that you guys need to figure out here. You need to obey.
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking.
True, though. True. All right, back to this.
We are back here for you on live now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Pesha. It was great to be with you as we continue to roll on. A live look right now at the White House on this Wednesday evening. And President Trump did make news about an hour and a half ago when he was asked about the situation in Iran. Now, about 24 hours ago, it seemed like he was getting closer for maybe the U.S. to strike Iran. But now it seems a little bit more uncertain, and it looks like maybe that will not be the route of the U.S. I want to show you President Trump being asked about that today. Here's the quick soundbite.
Been notified and pretty strongly, but we'll find out what that all means. But we've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping, and it's stopped, and it's stopping. And there's no plan for executions or executions. So I've been told that on good authority. We'll find out about it. I'm sure if it happens, we'll all be very upset, including you. We'll be very upset, but that's just gotten to me, some information that the killing has stopped, that the executions have stopped. They're not going to have an execution, which a lot of people were talking about for the last couple of days. Today was going to be the day of execution.
All right, so that was the moment just about 90 minutes ago from the Oval Office at the White House. I want to continue to talk about this, what this could mean, and really the next 24 to 48 hours to look at. So let's bring in our next guest to help break it all down. This is Blaise Mistal, Vice President for Policy at GINSA. Thanks so much.
I really don't care about your analysis, honestly. That's who I'm supposed to be. I'm the analyst. We're going to move on. Okay, so, I mean, there wasn't super much there, so we're just going to move on. Okay, so we got Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, whatever you want to call him, white people tacos Tim, whatever. Walz addresses Minnesota amid ICE crackdown. Then this is his latest, like him giving a speech addressing this whole ordeal, and this is his latest as of 14 hours ago.
Armed, masked, undertrained ICE agents are going door to door, ordering people to point out where their neighbors of color live. They're pulling over people indiscriminately.
What's up, Abe Dinkus? Great to see you in the chat, my man. Hopefully you're enjoying your Thirsty Thursday so far.
Including U.S. citizens, and demanding to see their papers. And at grocery stores, at bus stops, even at our schools. They're breaking windows, dragging pregnant women down the street, just plain grabbing Minnesotans and shoving them into unmarked vans, kidnapping innocent people with no warning and no due process. Let's be very, very clear. This long ago stopped being a matter of immigration enforcement. Instead, it's a campaign of organized brutality against the people of Minnesota by our own federal government. Last week, that campaign claimed the life of Renee Nicole Good. We've all watched the video. We've all seen what happened. And yet, instead of conducting an impartial investigation so we can hold accountable the officer responsible for Renee's death, the Trump administration is devoting the full power of the federal government to finding an excuse to attack the victim and her family. Just yesterday, 6 federal prosecutors, including the longtime career prosecutor leading the charge to investigate and eliminate fraud in our state's programs, quit their jobs rather than go along with this assault on the United States Constitution. But as bad as it's been, Donald Trump intends for it to get worse. This week, he went online to promise that, quote, the day of retribution and reckoning is coming. That's a direct threat against the people of this state who dared to vote against him 3 times and who continue to stand up for freedom with courage and empathy and profound grace. All across Minnesota, people are stepping up to help their neighbors who are being unjustly and unlawfully targeted. They're distributing care packages and walking kids to school and raising their voices in peaceful protest, even though doing so has made many of our fellow Minnesotans targets for violent retribution. Folks, I know it's scary, and I know it's absurd that we all have to be defending law and order, justice, and humanity while also caring for our families and trying to do our jobs. So tonight, let me say once again to Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, end this occupation. You've done enough. Let me say 4 critical things to the people of Minnesota. 4 things I want you to hear as you watch the news and look out for your neighbors. First, Donald Trump wants this chaos. He wants confusion. And yes, he wants more violence on our streets.
Stop the cap.
We cannot give him what he wants. We must protest loudly, urgently, but also peacefully. Indeed, as hard as we will fight in the courts and at the ballot box, we cannot and will not let violence prevail. You're angry, I'm angry. Angry is not a strong enough word, but we must remain peaceful. Second, you are not powerless, you are not helpless, and you are certainly not alone. All across Minnesota, people are learning about opportunities, not just to resist, but to help people who are in danger. Thousands upon thousands of our fellow Minnesotans are going to be relying on mutual aid in the days and weeks to come, and they need our support. Tonight, I want to share another way you can help. Witness. Help us establish a record of exactly what's happening in our communities. You have an absolute right to peacefully film ICE agents as they conduct these activities. So carry your phone with you at all times.
Yeah, absolutely. You can film all you want. Just don't obstruct federal investigations. It's bad for your health.
And if you see these ICE agents in your neighborhood, take out that phone and hit record. Help us create a database of the atrocities against Minnesotans, not just to establish a record for posterity, but to bank evidence for future prosecution. The third thing I want to say to you tonight is we will not have to live like this forever. Accountability is coming at the voting booth and in court. We will reclaim our communities from Donald Trump. We will reestablish a sense of safety for our neighbors, and we will bring an end to this moment of chaos, confusion, and trauma. We will find a way to move forward, and we'll do it together, and we'll not be alone. Every day, we are working with business leaders, faith leaders, legal experts, and elected officials from across this country. They've all seen what Donald Trump is trying to do to our state, and they know their states could be next. And that brings me to the fourth thing I want to say tonight, Minnesota, how incredibly proud I am of the way that you've risen to meet this unbearable moment. But I'm not at all surprised, because this is who we are. Minnesotans believe in the rule of law, and Minnesotans believe in the dignity of all people. We're a place where there's room for everybody, no matter who you are, or who you love, or where you came from. A place where we feed our kids, we take care of our neighbors, and we look out for those in the shadows of life. We're an island of decency in a country being driven towards cruelty. We will remain an island of decency, of justice, of community, of peace. And tonight I come before you simply to ask, don't let anyone take that away from us. Thank you, protect each other, and may God bless the people of Minnesota.
Man, that was some serious cope.
Stop the cap.
All right, we're going to move on. Iranian protests. Trump administration considers military intervention. Now, this is as of 14 hours ago, and we have one more update on Iran leading us up into current time right now. So first we're going to get into this, and then we'll hop on over into that.
All right, let's discuss the...
Actually, we're going to be hopping on after this. We're going to be talking about another ICE-involved shooting in Minneapolis happened yesterday, 13 hours ago so yesterday afternoon, sometime around then.
Latest on Iran. So much to discuss as protests continue in the country, and as we to this situation, if they react at all. We do have standing by retired Marine intelligence officer, national security analyst, and the host of the Strat podcast, Hal Kempfer, to discuss. Hal, what's the latest that you've been tracking as far as the U.S.'s military movements in the Middle East and abroad?
Well, a couple things, Austin. One thing is we've been evacuating military personnel out of Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. That's the base that was hit last June in retaliation for our...
What's up, Brother 13? Great to see you in the chat, my man. Good morning.
...bombing of the three nuclear sites in Iran. It wasn't a big hit, but of course in this one the concern is if we do strikes, because of the dynamics of having to take out their retaliatory capability and they're suppressing their air defenses, we could see a major strike on U.S. Installations, bases, and personnel throughout the region. So that was one. The other one that just came in is that the Abraham Lincoln Carrier Task Force Group is heading out from the Pacific and heading over to what we think might be the Middle East to sit on station to stand by. And that would provide tremendous capability. Of course, the Gerald R. Ford Carrier Task Force Group, which is our most advanced carrier, tremendously capable carrier, is sitting on station off Venezuela. Otherwise, it might be in the Middle East. So we're having to do some movement around of carrier task forces to cover that new need, I would say, that new requirement for possible operations in and around Iran.
A live look at the White House, the time in the nation's capital, 8:19. Hal, I have to ask you about this because we've been tracking closely.
Now, this question will determine if we're just moving on or if I'm going to hear it out.
How the crowds are being controlled in Iran. We've been
it's a good question.
Watching videos of the protests themselves taking place. We've got some daytime footage of some of these protests, I believe. Yeah, there we have it.
Yeah, we're going to listen to this question or this answer.
Protests have been happening now for over a week. Security forces have appeared to shift from crowd control and into more of a broader internal security crackdown, a larger crackdown, if you will, Hal. A lot of people are wondering whether this is a short burst of unrest or if this is a longer-term challenge to the state's ability to govern. What signs are going to indicate to you whether the regime is stabilizing or whether it's losing control as time goes on?
Well, what I'm really looking at is to see what the regular military forces end up doing and the regular police forces. The Revolutionary Guard Corps, the Islamic IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is tied so closely to Ayatollah Khomeini, to that extreme theocratic, autocratic government or regime that's in power, they are ideological zealots. They are the ones that have been on the streets gunning down, basically mowing down protesters. That's where you're getting reports of, in excess of 2,000. I think we had reports that came out yesterday from multiple sources saying it could be as high as 12,000 or more.
Yeah, there was multiple reports that they were saying 12 to 20,000.
Protesters have been gunned down, killed. It's inferred that thousands have been rounded up. We know after June that the Iranian regime rounded up at least 20,000 people and accused them of all sorts of things like spying for Israel and everything else. But it does appear, at least this afternoon, that they may be moving away from some of those lethal attacks on protesters, at least according to President Trump. He said they're going to stop the killing of protesters. They're not going to go ahead with some planned public executions, public hangings. So we may be seeing a shift, but I'm watching that regular military. If they turn around, not the highest leadership levels, they tend to be rather ideological purists, but maybe at the lower levels, they may turn around and say is enough with the regime. Their job is to defend Iran. Their job.
What Blair just said right there is 1,000% facts, by the way. Just needed to point that out. Okay, we're going to move on, though. All right. We're going to talk about right now, there was another ICE-involved shooting in Minneapolis. So we're going to go ahead and bring this up. This happened yesterday evening sometime or something like that. We'll see.
We are getting some news from the city of Minneapolis and from Fox's Bill Malugin. Let's start with the city. They say, we are aware of reports of a shooting involving federal law enforcement in North Minneapolis. We're working to confirm additional details. There have been reports of another ICE-involved shooting. Fox's Bill Malugin with a little more context. I'm told by 4 law enforcement sources there has been another ICE-involved shooting in Minneapolis tonight. I'm told ICE was making contact with a target who then allegedly assaulted an officer with a shovel or swung a shovel.
Swung a shovel.
And the suspect ran back to a house. No info yet on if anyone was actually shot, just that shots were fired. Very preliminary information. More as we get it. He continues, I'm now told that a suspect, believed to be Venezuelan, was indeed shot, but is okay, stable, and is now in custody.
So the guy got shot. Guy's from Venezuela. He got shot. He's okay, stable, and now in custody. Holy shit. This guy apparently swung a shovel at this ICE officer. What the fuck are you doing swinging shovels at federal officers? That's bad for your health, too.
These live images are from the scene of where this took place, and it does, in fact, appear that there's protesters.
And real quick, we've got over 643 people in here. Make sure you guys double tap the screen as well as hit the like button. I very much appreciate that. We got OG Yogi on the Facebook side of things saying, OG Yogi for mayor in Vegas. Are you actually running, motherfucker? That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Great to see you in the chat, bro.
I've got 4 different vantage points of this area, by the way. You know what? Let's pull up the audio on this one. Looks like things are getting a little more active on this camera.
Man, please, with the whistles. They're really annoying, bro. Bring down the volume.
Unclear to me if this is in the exact area or how close this protest is to the area where that shooting or that shots fired incident took place. Clearly, this group of protesters advancing forward, screaming F ICE. And as we hear of another shooting taking place in the Twin Cities, this is certainly going to serve potentially.
Well, then go watch someone else. Stupid fuck. I don't understand. Go watch the mainstream media or something, loser.
Another firework going off. Governor Tim Walz, earlier this evening, about an hour and a half ago, making an address to Minnesotans. He said he had 4 messages for Minnesotans amid these tense times. The governor saying President Trump wants this chaos and confusion on the streets. And he also said protesters need to be peaceful. It did appear to me like they were throwing some snow at those officers. And that's something that we've been seeing for days now as these demonstrations continue in Minneapolis. In some cases, ICE.
Shit's getting out. It's wild out there, man.
Officials. Another firework going off. Sometimes the police will throw flashbangs, by the way, in an effort to disperse unlawful assemblies. Okay, looks like some of those, and that might have been a flashbang right there, actually. I just saw some of those demonstrators running away. And so seeing right now a lot of what we've been seeing in recent days, these protesters telling ICE to get out of their city. Mayor Jacob Frey has told them to get out of their city. Governor Walz today telling, oh yeah, and it's curious to me, I'm curious if...
You okay? Yeah, I love this.
Yeah, at this point, if this keeps up at this pace, yeah, I could see it coming. Real quick, holy shit, we got a major donation on Cash App, man. I'm glad that I paused real quick so I can catch that. Jeffrey coming in, and I'm not going to dox your last name, man, but Jeffrey, I really appreciate that. It sends in $20 saying, appreciate what you do, my man. Man, thank you so much for that. Shit goes a long way, bro, so I very much appreciate that.
Yeah, so it sounds like, I'll turn the audio down. It sounds like the television crew that's filming this might have been exposed to the elements there. Unsure what exactly that smoke is made of. But certainly a crowd dispersal tactic we just saw on live television. Seems like things are cooling down for a moment on this camera. Let's move back to our other vantage point. This is the scene where that other officer-involved shooting took place earlier this evening.
Okay, so that is the scene right here. This is the scene where the this exact ICE-involved shooting right here in Minneapolis. This was the off of North 24th Avenue.
Bill Malugin has. So far, Malugin says that he's told by 4 law enforcement sources that there's been another ICE-involved shooting in Minneapolis tonight. He's told that ICE was making contact with a target who then allegedly assaulted an officer with a shovel or swung a shovel. Shots were fired. And then the suspect ran back to a house. Okay,
what's up,
like
extra
this camera's
surprise?
running away. I'm not exactly sure what they're running
The
from.
camera's actually fucking running. Let me go ahead and back that up a little bit.
Who then allegedly assaulted an officer with a shovel or swung a shovel. Shots were fired, and then the suspect ran back to a house. Okay, looks like this camera's running away. I'm not exactly sure what they're running from or what they're running toward, if anything. Putting the camera down, possibly. There is no audio coming through.
Kel, it is getting wild, bro.
On this camera, just to be clear. Okay, now we got some.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. They're all running.
Towels under the doors!
Tear gas. Yep. Sounds like tear gas.
Right here on this corner!
So yeah, that's going to make everybody run away as quickly as possible. A number of our crews have been exposed to the tear gas in recent days.
Emily!
Not uncommon, you see protesters carrying milk with them for these moments. Looks like one of those officers.
Yeah, for their eyes. Absolutely. All right, we're going to move on, though. Okay, so we got more dramatic videos of ICE operations in Minnesota. Let's go ahead and bring this up. We'll go ahead and discuss it. And real quick, before we get into it, man, make sure you guys hit that like button. We've got 788 people in here. Double tap the screen on the vertical side. I very much appreciate your laborious work. And also, embrace your fuck-ups, man.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Embrace the process. Oh my God. All right, here we go.
Good for you. Good for you. Don't move.
Put your hands in your pocket. Put your hands in your pocket. You gotta move. Get out of the way.
I don't pose.
Damn, that is loud as fuck. We are bringing that down. Shit. Let me just for everyone that's in these ICE riots and these protests, whatever, demonstrations, let me just give you guys a little word of advice, little piece of advice here. Lose the whistle thing, because no one wants to watch that shit. No one wants to hear it. It's fucking lame. It's really hard to listen to. So don't you want to bring attention to this? You want people like me talking about it, don't you? Well, what the fuck, man? Like, have it where we can actually listen to it. And real quick, we got Virginia Chaos coming in the building, becoming a member. Let's fucking go. I very much appreciate that, kind sir. How about you shut the fuck up? Yeah, the difference is, Andrew, I do it once in a blue moon. These guys are just non-stop doing it. It'd be one thing if you did it once in a while, but Jesus. Listen to it.
Fucking chucking that shit while you're running. Fuck you guys. Fuck you, motherfuckers. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck you.
None of this looks peaceful, by the way. Pepper balls.
It doesn't even fucking bother us. Drive the fuck away. Fuck you.
Kicking the car, hitting the car, doing nothing.
Holy shit, Rudy. The phones are on full effect. God damn. Get back to my car. Holy shit, Rudy. Pussies!
Man, it's just non-stop. Way annoying, Jimmy. Well, as you guys can see, it's just fucking chaos. It's just chaos. All right, we're going to go. We got still 3 more freaking stories to get through. One we're going to zip through, and then we've got U.S. seizes another oil tanker in the Caribbean, as well as European troops arrive in Greenland amid U.S. talks. All of these came out right before I hit go live this morning. So, but first, we're going to get into Iran executions halted after warnings. Of course, now we already do know that, but this is the last update we have on Iran. So let's go ahead and just bring it up and see what they've got.
Right now, I
quickly.
do want to get you right back into the headlines that we are following at this hour as the death toll continues to rise following protests across Iran. President Trump saying he has been told the killings are going to stop. Activists say more than 2,600 people have died during the demonstrations, with that number believed to be an underestimate. President Trump posting on Truth Social this morning, quote, Fox News, Iranian protester will no longer be sentenced to death after President Trump's warnings, likewise others. This is good news. Hopefully it will continue. Here's what President Trump had to say from the Oval Office about it on Wednesday.
We have been notified and pretty strongly, but we'll find out what that all means. But we've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping, and it's stopped.
Which we already heard this part. So is there not going to be any other update? Okay, there is a little bit.
On the screen.
Says Iran state TV airs threats against Trump. This time the bullet won't miss.
Reporting that it read, quote, this time the bullet won't miss. Iranian state media has also announced several arrests targeting quote-unquote terrorists, they say, and apparently looking for Starlink satellite internet dishes, which have been the only way to get images and videos out of Iran since the regime cut internet and phone access. A lot to discuss, as always, so I do want to bring in front of the show here. We have Mark Chandler, Director of Government Relations at Coastal Carolina University and former Senior Defense Intelligence official. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
You're welcome, Josh. Good morning.
We don't need an analysis from this guy. We're gonna move. Okay, U.S. seizes new oil tanker in Caribbean. This is a very quick update. It's like only 2 minutes long. Let's get right into it.
Take a look at this message coming in from the U.S. Southern Command. The type kind of hard to read, but it does say, through Ops Southern Spear, the Department of War is unwavering in its mission to crush illicit activity in the Western Hemisphere in partnership with the Coast Guard through DHS and the DOJ. In another pre-dawn action, Marines and sailors from Joint Task Force Southern Spear, in support of the Department of Homeland Security, launched from the USS Gerald R. Ford and apprehended motor tanker Veronica without incident. I do want to pop up that video that's there on the left-hand side of your screen full, so you can get a better view of the video of the seizure. Again, on the bottom, you did see today's date, and on the top, unclassified video released by officials. Now, the Veronica is the latest tanker operating in defiance of President Trump's established quarantine of sanctioned vessels in the Caribbean, proving the effectiveness of Operation Southern Spear yet again. That is according to U.S. Southern Command. These operations are backed, they say, by the full power of the U.S. Navy's Amphibious Ready Group, including the ready and lethal platforms of USS Iwo Jima, USS San Antonio, and USS Fort Lauderdale. They add the only oil leaving Venezuela will be oil that is coordinated properly and lawfully. The Department of War, in coordination with interagency partners, will defend our homeland by ending illicit activity and restoring security in the Western Hemisphere. Again, this is video here, unclassified, released by the department there as they kind of break down everything that we know so far. Now, as we mentioned, U.S. forces in the Caribbean Sea seizing another sanctioned oil tanker. The Trump administration does say once again that it has ties to Venezuela, coming as part of that broader U.S. effort to take control of the South American country's oil. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem posting this on social media, essentially the same as what we saw coming in from U.S. Southern Command with the video once again. Now, the Veronica is the 6th tanker that has been seized by U.S. forces as part of the effort by Trump's administration here to control the production, refining, and global distribution of Venezuela's oil products. Now, this is, again, number 6 that we know of, but we are getting these different videos that are released by officials with the Trump administration as each of these seizures do happen. They do say, essentially, that we should expect more of those in the coming days and weeks here. We'll bring you all of those as breaking updates on Live Now from Fox.
All right, so we're going to do our last update here. European troops arrive in Greenland amid U.S. talks. So let's go ahead and bring that up and discuss it real quick for our last segment here.
And I do want to get right back into it here at this hour as troops from several European countries, that includes France, Germany, the UK, Norway, and Sweden, arriving in Greenland in a show of support for Denmark as talks between representatives of Denmark, Greenland, and the U.S. on Wednesday highlighted, quote, fundamental disagreement, end quote, between the Trump administration and European allies on Greenland's future. Denmark announced that it would increase its military presence in Greenland, and several European partners started sending symbolic numbers of troops there on Wednesday. The troop movements were intended to portray unity among Europeans and send a signal to President Trump that an American takeover of Greenland is not necessary, as NATO together can safeguard the security of Greenland amid rising Russian and Chinese interest. There is so much to this, so I do want to bring in Ron Dole, professor of history at Florida State University, to talk much more about all of this. Ron, thank you so much for taking the time to be here this morning.
It's good to be with you.
All right, so I do want to get right into it here and talk about any sort of maybe historical precedent that does exist for a potential U.S. takeover of Greenland.
The U.S. has long been very interested in Greenland. The first attempt to purchase Greenland, to acquire it, came after the U.S. Civil War, after the purchase of Alaska. There were other attempts in the beginning of the 20th century, but the real interest that the U.S. had in Greenland grew during World War II and then during the Cold War. The idea of...
Yeah, it's, if you just look on the map, on a geographical landscape, right? Greenland is right in between Russia and the United States. So that's a main source of why they're talking about national security. Have a buffer between Russia like that. That's number one. Then number two, of course, is any of the, whether it be metals of precious metals, oil, resources, shit like that, of course, follows.
Acquiring Greenland back then, throughout the Cold War, was one of negotiation, of working with Danish authorities. The U.S. had been given permission to operate in Greenland once Germany had taken over Denmark at the beginning of World War II in 1940. And the agreement was that the U.S. could continue to operate in Greenland until the situation resolved itself and there was a larger peace that would allow the resumption of earlier agreements. And we are decades after that point, and that larger agreement and subsequent ones still hold.
Looking into all of this a little bit deeper, the big question that a lot of people have asked is, why does the U.S. want Greenland in the first place? What can you kind of break down for folks out there?
There's a long issue involving national security. Back when aircraft couldn't go entirely across the Atlantic Ocean, routes that went through Greenland in the center between the North American and the Eurasian continent made Greenland particularly strategic. Indeed, just after World War II, one of the ways Greenland was referred to as the world's largest stationary aircraft carrier. But there were also interests in using Greenland to monitor signals from the Soviet Union, as after 1947, the Soviet Union became the center of the emerging Cold War. That is on the national security side. Greenland became, of course, the home to the Thule Air Force Base in the far northwest corner of Greenland, one of the largest air bases ever built. But there were also some minerals that were important. Cryolite mining in the southern tip of Greenland was really important for aluminum manufacturing. Think back to aircraft, World War II. Greenland served both of those realms.
What sort of limitations exist? And we kind of went into this a little bit, but limitations for the U.S. or really anyone to acquire a location like Greenland when you talk about international law and things of that nature?
The long enduring system that was created after World War II, the Western security system, if you will, had as a framework the sovereignty of nations, the independence, the ability of people to make choices within their own nations. And the threat of force has long been seen as a violation of that Western alliance. Think of the war that emerged between Russia and Ukraine. That was an attempt to take a territory from another sovereign nation.
What do we need to be watching for next as all of this does progress, move forward? Of course, we know that President Trump met with officials just yesterday. There's a lot of discussion. Now we have these European troops from several different countries that are there in Greenland to show their...
I wonder what the total amount is, because I haven't heard the total amount yet. And it doesn't show in the description either.
Their support, so to speak. So what do we need to be watching for?
I think, among other things, we need to see how the people of Greenland and Denmark feel about the shift in attitude towards United States and United States policy. I think back to when the United States was operating in the early decades of the Cold War in Greenland, first building the Thule Air Force Base and then building Camp Century, a nuclear-powered city under the ice more than 100 miles further east in the ice cap, in part as a way of demonstrating cooperation between Denmark and the United States. Denmark, of course, along with the United States, one of the founding members of NATO. There was a lot of trust that existed at that point. Danish people had adopted a policy of no nukes in their state and the larger territory. The leaders recognized the United States did intend and brought in nuclear weapons to store and for flights that originated from Thule, but allowed that, found ways of maintaining cooperation with the United States. That trust has been eroded at present.
Ron, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here and helping to break.
Definitely brutal. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that concludes what we that's leading up to real time now. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, stick around for the raid. We're going to be raiding our buddy JS Urban Adventures. Make sure you guys stick around for that, as well as hit the like button on the way out. Very much appreciate all of your guys' engagement, whether that's in the comments, whether that's live chat. Hitting that like button, all that kind of stuff. It goes a long way. Donations. So I'm very appreciative of all of you guys. We're going to be back tomorrow morning for more of the world's madness. Until then, God bless everyone. We'll see you guys very soon, and stay safe out there. Much love.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken, he rides on to his ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the refusing to submit.